everyone, welcome back. I wanted to look into some mind-blowing things that I've come across lately that really show proof that the luminaries are not what we've been told, especially when it comes to planets or the chief stars, the ones that were mentioned in the book of Enoch that would leave their orbital paths, and that basically we would lose our understanding of what these things are and take them to be gods, which is why they are all named after gods, except for Earth, which was just dry land at creation, and we've changed it to become a planet like the other chief stars. So what I want to look at is similar, very similar to a video I put out a while back about comets and them being lights in the waters above or lights in the firmament. Some spectacular properties with these things, or some really good images we came across, and how they look exactly like lights shining in water as opposed to glowing ice dust from a comet that just seems to have this trail of ice behind it that's glowing in the sunlight. Definitely some sort of light shining into the firmament, and as we know, everything above us is pretty much for signs and seasons, and it's like one perfect clock, this giant calendar where the sun shows us the time of day, the moon is showing us the days of the month, and we have the stars showing us the seasons and days of the year, and lots of other things going on. It gets really deep, and there's a lot of things going on in the news with asteroids. I want to touch base on that again. There are some things that I didn't talk about the first time in another video about asteroids that are biblical, and I want to address those issues very soon. But what I want to look at first is these what are called solar coronas. And when you guys watch the eclipse and you have the glasses on and the eclipse reached totality, you saw some really cool lights shining around the moon, but it was hard to really see them in detail. Luckily, some people have captured them in great detail. Here's a zoomed in version where you can see the solar corona. Here's a couple stars, just beautiful, spectacular. And when I was looking at this, it just looks like that sun is so close to the moon, and that the light is just shooting out, almost like it's hitting the backside of the moon and shooting outwards. And I thought about it. I know they now say that the moon is within Earth's atmosphere, but I was like, how are these lights shining so far? What medium are they shining through? You look how far these things are going. If it's above our atmosphere, or most of our atmosphere, where these lights are shining. And they tell us this is the sun's atmosphere. The sun is round, and you can see, or it's a ball, spherical looking object as far as we can tell, and these light rays are shooting out different directions, some directions more dominant than others. And again, you can kind of look in and see these little bitty tiny flares coming up, as if, I mean, to me it looks like that sun is right there next to the moon, almost touching it. I know there's some really cool illusions here, but you can see the magnetic properties of the sun and the moon right here. If you've ever looked at the iron shavings next to a magnet, similar pattern here, not exactly the same, but similar. So you can see those electromagnetic properties. Those are what help control the tides and a lot of things on Earth. The sun and the moon, again, are opposites, with the moonlight proven to be colder than moon shade, which is the exact opposite of sunlight. So it's really cool how these were designed and put in place to do the spectacular things they do. And we take a lot of it for granted because it just happens like clockwork and very dependable. Not always going to be that way. There will be a time when some things change. But I found some really good pictures of these. I didn't even know these kinds of pictures existed. These are some professionals who have done a great job capturing the corona. And my thought with this was, if this is light in the sun's atmosphere, it's always there, we just can't see it. Well, in space, or even on Earth, since the moon's in Earth's atmosphere now, we should be able to slide any object in front of the sun, block out the sun, and see this. Especially when we're in space. The people on the ISS should be able to do this with their thumb. Just put it in front of the sun and see this beautiful solar corona. And so I googled images of I googled images of solar coronas from space and could not find any. I was quite amazed at the number of cartoons that I found of solar coronas, but I didn't find any from space. And if this is what it looks like when our moon passes in front of it, they should definitely be able to replicate this when they're above most of our atmosphere in space, on the ISS, or anywhere, especially when they went on the moon. I don't think when they were on the moon that I ever saw them look at the sun. Their only goal was to show us the blue marble. So not a lot of sun footage from the moon, even though that would have been really cool to see, sunrise or sunset or any type of sun movement. No, we got to see Earthrise, and we got to see lots of pictures of this Earth that happened to just look exactly like the ones taken from the window on the way to the moon. Not going to question that. Sure, it was a coincidence. Same cloud patterns and everything. But again, just look at these beautiful pictures of solar coronas. These even fan out, looking like how we used to draw the sun back in elementary school. It's really something impressive. These, I believe 100%, are the lights in the firmament shining outward. Reminds me of sort of like when you hold a spoon under the water in your sink when it's running and it shoots outward in different directions. Kind of what that light's doing. I've never seen light move like it flows almost in this really cool pattern. I've never seen that. This is the only time I've seen light do that, is with these solar coronas. Really something to look into and think about, similar to the comets. Just gorgeous. I mean, these light rays are something else. They really are. And they go really far. If you think about it, if the sun were as big as they tell us it is, how many Earth distances this would be right here? It's insane. But really, all that is lights within the firmament, and we can see them during these eclipses. And I know if you ever do get a chance to see one, even if it's hours away, go see one. Get to the path of totality. It's a spiritual experience. Seeing these objects that our Father put in motion cross paths like that, I mean, it is something else. It's one of the coolest things I've seen with my own eyes. But I came across a video when I was looking into all this about astronomy. I try to watch a lot of footage of the planets, the wandering stars, figure out what's really going on. And I came across this one here. It had about 4 million views, a little more than that. And it was somebody who said, live footage of every planet in our solar system, plus Earth's moon in my telescope. And this person captured some of the best footage I've seen. And when they zoomed in on Jupiter, you can see Jupiter here, fully lit up by the sun. So it's like if it was a moon, it'd be a full moon. But this is a full Jupiter lit up by the sun. The moons of Jupiter were not full. They were crescent moons. That's interesting, considering the sun shining on Jupiter should be hitting the moons at the exact same angle. What this looks like to me is that this chief star is its own light, and it's casting light in this direction, lighting up these moons. Why is the sunlight that's making this look like a light not doing the same things to these moons? Because they're not what we've been told. Totally different. The properties of these chief stars, they do serve a purpose. They have left their orbital paths. They've been used to help deceive us and send in this cosmic rewrite that was only possible thanks to these guys. And it's insane that many people aren't talking about this. If there's a logical explanation, please share it with me. I don't see one. With the sun being as far away from these three objects, they should all receive the exact same shade pattern and look something like this. At a bare minimum, you should be seeing crescent Jupiter and 2 crescent moons. But that's not the last thing that I saw that was cool about Jupiter. Someone, before I got on into this video, thankfully they found me in the comments. I'll try to give them credit if I can find that comment again. But they said, check out this footage. And it was, of course, from Secure Team. And I don't promote the alien agenda. I know there's some hoaxes going on that are going to be fulfilled quite soon with this alien stuff. And people always go, oh, you're talking about this, it's not going to happen. Well, they're ramping up the asteroid threat, believe it or not. and they've already got the Space Force underway. Everything is falling into plan with some of those things that I once thought were just conspiracy theory stuff. It's actually looking like they're going to try to go that direction and deceive a lot of people, make a lot of people question their origin and think that we came from these extraterrestrials. And it has some sinister purposes, and a lot of people are going to fall for whatever they have cooked up. The technology is getting great, but don't let it fool you, and try to wake as many as you can to the lies. You're not going to wake everybody. Don't make enemies trying to wake people who aren't ready for the truth. The truth really is a lot to take in and quite mind-blowing. So here is this footage I wanted to show you of Jupiter. It looks very familiar. When you see it, you'll see what I mean. Here's Jupiter, those two moons that we saw that were crescent-shaped in another video, while Jupiter wasn't. I don't think I've ever seen a crescent-shaped Jupiter. It's always been fully illuminated. But look at that. Beautiful wave going across the surface. And it even reaches way out here to these supposed moons of Jupiter. And it's really good footage. I have never seen footage this clear of Jupiter from a telescope and a lunar wave move across it at the same time. So first time I've ever seen anything like this with Jupiter before. Hurricane's still there, don't worry. That hurricane has been there since our ancestors were alive. But there it is, the famous hurricane that just never ends because it's massive. Just gotta trust them there. But definitely some freaky footage of Jupiter. Let's see, we'll play that again for you. Similar to the lunar waves we've seen, as well as the waves we have seen during the lightning sprites that occur 70 plus miles above us, way above the clouds. You see a wave move across the firmament or part of the firmament, and then these lightning sprites shoot out of them. We have that in another video. If you haven't seen it, you need to check that out. I'm wanting to put together my censored video and try to do it in a way that it doesn't get banned again or get our channel deleted. But I definitely want to remaster that because it was quite good at waking people up when it was actually allowed to be viewable in the US for that short week. And then they blocked it in the US, and it has not been seen by many since then. So we'll try to get that back out there, up and running. But speaking of censorship and the sadness of all these channels getting deleted, one of our friends from Sun and Moon family, Karen, she was one of the first to reach out to us and do an actual live hangout with us several months ago. Her channel was deleted, and literally all she did was talk to people, interview them, and put those live hangouts on her channel. And as you can see here, that's a serious no-no. She had, it says here when I went on her channel, that this account has been terminated due to multiple or severe violations of YouTube's policy against spam, deceptive practices, and misleading content or other terms of service violations. And this is someone who literally just asks questions, is not out putting out hoax videos or anything like that. Just asks questions, talks to people, unites people, brought a lot of cool people together. I got to talk to Mike Helmick, who I was a fan of from the early days of me looking into this stuff. He was someone who has a background in special effects and knows how they do a lot of the tricks that they do, and he exposed them like crazy. So really good breakdowns there. And again, we have a couple channels you need to resubscribe to if you didn't realize they were deleted. Astro Not, luckily he came back with another channel, some phenomenal stuff. Taboo Conspiracy, always coming out with some really cool videos, just debunked the South Pole nonsense. And it's really cool that these channels are trying to make a comeback and still doing what they do, not putting out any hate, and just keeping on moving forward. But you need to subscribe to these guys and kind of take it to YouTube a little for what they're doing, not slow down the truth movement at all. Share their content, really good stuff. Our backup channel, Confound the Wise, I will leave a link in the description to all these channels, as well as my brother's channel, Grace and Truth Fellowship. He is definitely got some good stuff he's going to be putting out soon, and we will also be sharing some of that on our channel as well. But back to the cool stuff with the firmament. Here is a good old picture of our Earth. We were told, you guys remember this, the pale blue dot, Carl Sagan saying we are a mote of dust in a sunbeam. this goes back to these little solar coronas that we've seen right here shining in space. And I had a comment a long time ago on a video I put out, and someone said, if this was what we had, if this was our reality, this giant beam shining around Earth in space, like somebody's got a flashlight over here or a spotlight, if that round sun can put out a light beam that looks like a spotlight, which I've never seen a round light do that, but if it could do that, and there's a beam at night when we're looking out into space, we're going to see that. We're going to be in a light tunnel. You're going to see our shadow, and it's going to be surrounded by that light in deep space, because that's a pretty good distance away. That's way beyond the moon here. The moon would be somewhere over here. I mean, that moon would be quite close. So that was a good thing that they brought that up, because this is a totally bogus picture. I don't know if they took an actual picture of a piece of dust floating in the air while a light was shining through the curtains or something, but this is not a picture of Earth. There are no stars, and if you talk to any of the astronauts, or some of them, space is a deep black, or there's a lot of stars. We really don't know. So really confusing stories. But one of the last things I wanted to look at was something that didn't make sense to me about the moon's shadow when there's a solar eclipse. Here is a compilation of them from 1901 to 1920. I imagine if you were to compile many more years than that, there would be a lot more. But these things are just in the most random places and random directions. I know this isn't the actual shape of Earth, so it's not going to make the perfect little shape that it would if you were to turn this into a flat Earth map or a globe. But I just thought their patterns were interesting, even on this type of a map. And the diameter, or the width of these lines, which is about 100 miles wide, and that's the umbral shadow across the Earth. The moon is said to be 2,159 miles in diameter. Earth is only 8,000. Not a huge difference on a scale of our universe that they give us. That's not really that big of a difference. But our shadow is quite larger. It's greater than a third of its actual size, when this is a 22nd of its actual size, or 1/22. And when I was looking at it and just doing some things, I know the surface of the moon is responsible for the shape of the moon phases. A lot of people seem to think that the moon phases are all caused by the Earth's shadow. They're not, okay? But so I know this isn't to scale perfectly, but I was just trying to show that if this was the Earth's curve making that shadow, our shadow is not doing what it should be doing compared to what we see with reality. And these little pictures here, like, do you really think this little guy could be causing that big of a shadow on the moon? I don't think so. It would be, of course, larger than this, but it should be the same scale. If this is indeed reality, it's not. That moon is not as far away as they tell us it is. Its shadow looks like this because it's close. It's a local moon with a local sun, and it's really starting to make sense when you start putting the pieces together. Yes, there's some confusion. We don't have all the answers, but definitely this is not where we are. This is not reality. There's a reason we're being censored and deleted like we are for just asking questions. I'm not forcing my beliefs on anyone. Neither are any of the others. Yes, there's a lot of hate getting spread, but there's no violence. I don't know of any of us that are blowing up churches or anything like that. Everything is simply looking for answers. Finding some answers, of course, not finding all the answers. Knowing that we don't know everything is not a bad thing. Thinking that you know everything stunts your mental growth and your spiritual growth. You do not know everything. And it does seem like people on the comment section know it all. That's fine. Share your wisdom with us. We are willing to learn. And if you have answers to questions that I'm asking in this video, be nice about it, okay? It's something that will go a long way. Never do I ever see people jump to the other side by someone calling them a name and running away. It doesn't work like that. So again, we love you all. You all are a beloved creation of the Most High. I hope you get what you do not deserve. and earn what you cannot lose, even if it means giving up what you cannot keep. The wisdom of this world is something that is hard to let go of. It's humbling. It's not easy to become separated from the world because the mainstream may not ever come to terms with the fact that reality is not what they've been fed their entire lives, that governments and leaders, world leaders, might lie. There might be a lot more land out there, and I'm going to do another video about that. That's a whole different topic. I found some things out in some of the lost books about exactly how much land is out there, and it's definitely not 75% water, 25% land, somewhere around there. It's almost quite the opposite. So some mind-blowing things to come in the near future, and some more updates. I do want to make some corrections on my Australian trip. If you saw that video, I gave the wrong location. I will come back to correct that. It's a different white rock. There are 3 of them in Australia, I found out, and I picked one of the wrong ones. I apologize. It's the one further north. So I will put out a video shortly, just a quick one, just to show where it's at for a possible meetup in Australia, and hopefully someday have a meetup here in the United States with some people if I can work that out. I'm not a very good planner. My wife plans everything. I just like to fellowship with you guys, make videos, and teach. That's about it. So if you would like to support our ministry, our construction progress with the building an office in our new house that's under construction, or just support our work, you can make donations to our PayPal that I set up for people who are wanting to make donations. Some people said it would bless them to help our ministry, and it does bless us to have your support, not just in prayer, but if you guys feel led to do that, help yourself. The link's in the description. We really appreciate all your prayers and love. It's making a major difference in our lives, and you're sharing some really cool stuff with us. So thanks for being awesome. Remember to pray for your enemies. I had my eyes opened recently to the Father's love and how he loved someone like me, who was definitely not someone who deserved it. And it really opened my eyes up to the fact that we need to be praying for these people and be kind to them. We do not need to lose them. Our words have a greater impact than we think. Even if we're typing them in the comment section, they echo. So share some light, share some love. I've had a lot of people come back and say, man, I was dropping some hate on this channel, and I'm sorry the Father's dealt with me, and I'm starting to have an awakening, and that really blesses my soul to hear that. That's what we're here for. Even if you do not believe that Earth is stationary, we still want you here. We still want to share some things with you, shed some light on some deception, and you can believe what you want to believe, but just know that there's a lot of love out there and a lot of power that we aren't tapping into because we've been misled. So find the truth, seek truth, and stay awesome. God bless.